Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. The webcast will begin in 3 minutes. Welcome, everyone. The webcast will begin in 1 minute. Okay, welcome to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada's new volunteer-led webcast series, Cancer Doesn't Stop and Neither Do We. Today, we're here to talk about transforming fundraising events like golf tournaments. My name is Ashley Warner, and I'm the Culture and Engagement Manager at the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada. It is a pleasure to be your host here today. This presentation will last approximately 45 minutes and will be followed by a 15-minute question and answer period. To submit a question, simply use the question function. This presentation is also being recorded and will be sent to you 24 hours after the meeting concludes. This new webcast series has been designed by you, for you, featuring you. Light the night fundraisers and community heroes who don't stop when things get hard or they find barriers in their way. They persevere, showing their resiliency and commitment for the blood cancer community. Because as we know, cancer patients don't get to quit when things get hard. They endure pain and hardship and they keep going. Cancer doesn't stop and neither do we, neither do they, and neither do you. We want to thank you so much for being the shining light in so many lives. You could have chosen to sit back and do nothing, but here you are, wondering how to get involved and keep supporting the blood cancer community. That's pretty extraordinary. When things go back to normal, we will remember you and all those others who stepped up and helped their communities thrive. At the LLSC, our mission is to cure blood cancers and improve the quality of life for patients and their families. And COVID-19 isn't slowing down the work we do. If anything, it has given us a tiny taste of what cancer patients go through during isolation. It has inspired us to think smarter, act quicker, and work harder than we've ever had before. But we need you to know that none of this is ever possible without you. You are the engine that supports all of this great work. You are the engine that makes the impossible possible. So on behalf of the blood cancer community, thank you. Today, in the first part of this webcast, you will hear from Ava O'Toole, who will discuss her personal experience with the blood cancer. You will also hear from Myles Mortising and Chris Osmond as they talk about transforming golf tournaments. But today is not solely about golf. Be inspired by the tips and tricks you learn here today and try to apply them to your own local events or fundraisers. COVID-19 can do a lot of things, but it can't stop us from adapting to the new normal. We have the power to lead, adapt, pivot, and that's exactly why we're here today. So before we hear from our amazing speakers, I wanted to start off with a quick poll. So, have you ever raised money online using social media, email, or have you hosted your own virtual fundraiser? So you will see this pop up on your screen in a minute. And please select yes or no. Just give everyone a few moments. Okay, great. All right. So 72% of you said yes. So we may think of online fundraising as something new that came from COVID-19, but in fact, we've been raising money virtually for years using email and social media. Virtual fundraising is nothing new. It is my pleasure to introduce our very first speaker today. Ava O'Toole is a 22-year-old economics and communications student at Wilfrid Laurier University. She loves being active and has a passion for running, writing, and being involved in her community. In January of 2019, Ava's world turned upside down when she was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. She gained hope during her darkest hours from reading an article that featured LLSE spokesperson and Olympic athlete Max Perot. Max had the same type of cancer as Ava and was refusing to give up. Now in remission, Ava is using her voice to advocate and pass on that same message of hope and resiliency to others. As this year's Light the Night honored hero in Ontario, she is hoping to make a difference in lives like her own that have been impacted by a blood cancer. Ava, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Ashley, so much. And hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be here with you today. And I really just want to say thank you for being here, for coming out. It is a time of uncertainty, but this is something that's much bigger than me and you, but it's about both of us together. And I can't tell you how much it means to me. As Ashley mentioned, in January of 2019, I was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin lymphoma. I still get chills when I think about that date, January 24th. It was the day when the excruciating pain that I endured for several months in my back, my chest, and my stomach finally overtook me. I fell apart, totally and completely. It felt like someone had just poured rubbing alcohol into an open flesh wound, and I could feel it trailing through my body. It started in my shoulder blades, and it radiated across my abdomen and into my legs and fingertips. I was burning alive from the inside out. I was wheeled by ambulance from my school gym to the ER, and not even the most powerful of narcotic medications, injected directly into my arms and legs, relieved my pain. My doctors were in shock. I was admitted as an inpatient, and after undergoing several medical tests, and amidst the continued steady dose of powerful opioids, my pain was explained to me in graphic detail. I was seeing 3 of everything, and my parents were in a different city when I learned about a mass in my chest and fluid around my heart, both pressing against all of my nerves and causing my pain. It was cancer, blood cancer, stage 4B Hodgkin lymphoma, unfavorable symptoms. After being diagnosed with cancer, my future became so uncertain. What was I to do? I started to look to my past, at all of the lessons I learned from all the people I loved who I watched fight deadly diseases with grace. I tried to hold on tight as I stepped into my own uncertainty. But for 6 months, I struggled with the wrenching emotional and debilitating physical side effects of chemotherapy. I was bloated, I lost my muscle and my strength, and I lost my hair. But really, the physical part only seems severe until you're far enough along to face the emotional wrath of survival mode. 1 month in, I started to face night terrors and hallucinations. And by month 4, I forgot how to place my fingers on a keyboard. I couldn't socialize for the life of me, or even focus enough to watch TV. Most of all, I couldn't find the words to do the thing that I loved to do the most, to write. I slowly lost my ability to think, to process information, and ultimately, to be me. I learned that living with cancer means respecting death in the same way that you respect the water when you learn how to swim. My only choice was to accept the uncertainty of my reality before the choice was taken away from me. So I grieved my own death and let go of the pain that came with it. I became indifferent toward life and living until my happiness and zest for life faded away completely. My grieving period was time sensitive. It relied on the short spurts when I could think, which became fewer and farther apart as time passed, until they were gone. I held on to the little things that I could do as I slowly slipped away, knowing just how little they were, but hoping that they might have an impact. I went to the gym after every one of my treatments, where I napped more than I worked out, and I drank 8 glasses of what tasted like saline and metal every day, water. In my own little world, I was the reason that I was exhausted and nauseated. I ran 3 to 5 kilometers daily, including the day of treatments. Typically, I was covered by my own vomit by the time I finished, but it didn't matter to me. I knew that I owed it to the people who battled cancer, who couldn't move or get out of bed, and who still smiled, to do my part because I still could. My actions would be carried with respect for the people whose battles I watched and learned about. They inspired me. Above all, I think the hardest part was realizing how horribly my illness was hurting the people that I love, and how much more it would hurt them if I died. I was angry. I couldn't make it better. My parents are the most loving, supportive people in my life. They are my champions, and they always have been. But as I battled cancer, all I could see was how much I was hurting them, even as they smiled, laughed with me, and loved me. How do you console your parents knowing that you could die and that you can't give them anything to change it? There was no coming to terms with that. There was only shutting down. I pushed them away as hard as I could. I was so afraid, but I didn't want them to see my fear or negativity. I didn't want anyone to see it, so I overshadowed it with constant positivity. But I had 2 now very close friends who previously battled cancer and understood. They stood by me. Harrison and Mitch were open with me about their cancer battles as I faced mine. They helped me through everything. In 2013, at age 15, Harrison was diagnosed with a brain tumor that almost killed him. 90% of it was removed during a major operation, and 10% of it remains attached to his brainstem to this day. I met him in 2016 by fluke at university, and last year we started chemotherapy treatments within 1 day of each other. He successfully underwent his 8th brain surgery while I underwent my final treatment. We held each other and hugged in his hospital bed afterwards because we made it through together. Harrison called me after every one of my treatments, even as he faced his own. And early on, when I began to lose myself, he reminded me that I always had a choice: to adapt to my new normal, to get back up, and never to stop. Just like him, I wasn't done, and he made sure that I didn't forget it. In November 2016, at age 16, Mitch was diagnosed with a rare and serious form of acute lymphoblastic leukemia. When I was diagnosed with lymphoma, he was in remission. We met in 2018 through his cousin and my close friend, Jack, who I met in a bar line at university in 2017. When I was diagnosed and Joel told Jack, he told Mitch, who he said would be able to help and understand. He was right. After having met me twice, Mitch became a person I could turn to always during my battle. When I was bloated and I couldn't look at my reflection through my mirror, which I taped because I didn't want to see it, and when I shaved off my final strands of hair, Mitch saw through cancer. Still a princess, he always said. 2 years into Mitch's remission, his cancer has relapsed. He was chemotherapy resistant and had to fundraise to have a chance to live. He has fought for his life twice and is currently recovering from his second bone marrow transplant. Harrison and Mitch both knew much more about what I was going to face than I ever could have fathomed when I was diagnosed. They saw right through the mask that cancer forces you to wear. I could always be open with them, completely unfiltered, even when I couldn't think straight. I'm so grateful, but I also feel a lot of pain, knowing that their ability to help me came from their ongoing battles. They celebrated my remission with me, even as they continue to face their battles now. This is who they are. The biggest gift you can give to the people who care is to let them help you. I let them help me, and now they are my reason to continue to push forward. You are left with a lot of trauma after surviving cancer, and yet you are still one of the lucky ones. I faced PTSD for months. Life was handed to me on a silver platter after I finally came to accept the worst. I was dumbfounded about how to take it. It was like trying to find the shore after being dropped in a boat in the middle of the ocean without a paddle. I had to come out of the indifference I learned in survival mode and remember how to feel again. When you land in a place of indifference and face what might be considered the worst of adversity, it takes something even worse than that to wake you up. But how much worse can you get than battling cancer and then PTSD in a remission, not knowing how to live? I learned my answer 2 months into my remission in November, when Mitch's deadly cancer relapsed, and I felt fear for the first time in nearly a year. Remission was not guaranteed, and it would be fought for. I was barely coming out on the other side, remembering that we were supposed to be healthy together, Mitch, Harrison, and me. And then all of a sudden, Mitch could die. The emotional wrath felt like carrying a sword by its blade. My hands bled as I gripped it tightly, and I felt the pain in my core, but I wasn't letting go. It is the sharpest double-edged sword I have ever carried, and likely that I ever will. But feeling fear rather than indifference also meant I had something to lose. It meant I had something to live for, and someone else never to let down. He and Harrison are my why. They have taught me that the ability to feel fear comes with beginning to wonder. They give me hope. I want to thank LLSC for giving patients like me a paddle, a map, and a stronger boat so that we can get back home to who we are, to what we love, to who we love, and ultimately so that we can become a strong voice with hope for others and help them back to the shore too. We do it together. I'm speaking to all of you with the zest for life and the passion for what I believe, which I once lost, and it is my ultimate honor to be here today. But I also know that my strength and my voice came from my community and their fight for me. They made me feel less alone, and they gave me a chance to pay forward my gratitude when I fundraised for Light the Night last October. That gratitude could not have been paid forward without money or fundraising. No, money can't buy happiness, but it does buy lives, and it is the only way to invest in new research. If I was going to live, I had to be part of that push forward. My community was my voice when I didn't have one, and now I'm here. My voice is strong, stronger than it's ever been, and it's because of those people who stood by me. They paved my path. Each of you is here today because you also have a community, and that's where it begins. So, why is it important to keep supporting the blood cancer community? Because cancer doesn't stop because of COVID-19, and actually, in a lot of cases, it makes it even more difficult for those who are still battling. We think that we're just one person, but it's greater than you, and it's greater than me. We're a community of strangers who feel the same way. That's why we're here. We all know that when you can't see the light, you have to become the light. That's the only way you're going to get through everything, no matter what end you face. Our determination defines the resolution, hope, and resilience of thousands of people who fight individually together. You are here today because, like me, you believe that seeing one smile even if it's for a split second, is all that it takes to know that you've made a difference. I am only one face, and I have shown you two other faces. One who was meant to die but didn't. Instead, he learned how to walk and talk again from scratch, and he marches on with cancer for an 8th year. Harrison will continue to undergo operations yearly. Another one who is here because of new last chance trials and drugs and the support of his community to fundraise. He is barely out of the woods and will continue to be surrounded by trees for a second time. Mitch knows that his war may not be over. And one who is the lucky one, because she lives with residual trauma, but it means that she's no longer fighting for her life and is well enough to feel fear. I watch and live with knowing the people I love face far worse. Harrison, Mitch, and I are 3 of hundreds of thousands of faces who push forward because of your fundraising efforts. Research is the only way we will ever see changes in the number of people who are living and cured. Kudos to researchers. They work tirelessly in a state of plateau for years, until one day there's a new breakthrough. It just takes one. We stand behind their fight for us. We stand by the thousands who can find peace in knowing that our community is behind them and that we won't stop fighting for them and others like them, even if they don't make it. Peace and hope, they are the ultimate effects of fundraising for all parties. Those who live, those who die, and those who remember. That is why I am here today. It is about us. And sometimes the bravest thing that we can do is to step into uncertainty with all of our certainty alongside the people who are forced to without that choice. And when uncertainty feels uncomfortable, remember the fighting smile behind your why. Each of us has one. Cancer does not stop, neither do we. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Ava. Thank you for sharing your story with us all today. Our second speaker today is Myles Mortising. Myles is a creative, innovative leader with a passion for golf and a huge heart. He has been involved in supporting the planning and execution of the Q104 Links for Lymphoma Golf Tournament, which attracts around 150 golfers and raises around $40,000 each year. Myles is driven by putting the charity first, always striving to maximize the impact of funds raised while providing golfers with an exceptional experience. Myles also recently joined our executive leadership team in Halifax, continuing his passion and commitment for the cause. I am happy to introduce to you today Myles Mortising.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Ava, congratulations on your journey. It was very humbling and neat to hear your story. So congratulations on your journey. I wanted to speak today a little bit about how we've kind of reshaped and reformed the Q104 tournament here in recent years. And then, of course, now with COVID, we have a plan to execute and go forward. Our group here has been very, very passionate about continuing on the efforts of this tournament. And I felt it was my duty to just really trying to recreate how we could deliver that event. So we've really come up with a new strategy to deliver the event to the community and ensure, obviously, we can get money to the research parties and keep moving, forward to find a solution for cancer. So obviously, I wanted to segue a little bit into this. I was at a conference a while ago and got to meet Brian Mudrick, who was a TSN commentator, and it was very interesting. He had cancer at the age of 17, and he come into the hospital and kind of told the doctor, just give me a couple of pills, I got to go, I'm 17. And shortly thereafter, he had it again at 22. So it was very interesting just how you think, and you can see people out there that you never know who's had or been affected by it. So it's certainly something I'm very passionate about. The other thing that has really driven my passion too is my prior club. Our club president was actually a pharmaceutical rep. He lost his own father to cancer. And when he got into the industry, there were success rates of about 10%. And it's now at about 38% in the pharmaceutical areas in which he's involved. And something that he just always says, he just wants to try and save one life a day. And I've kind of taken that and kind of put it into my own quiver of passion for, being involved with this event and just, we know we can save somebody. We may not never know who they are, but at least we've done our best to do so. So Anyway, specifically to the event, we really have kind of just trying to change the philosophy of doing a traditional golf tournament. Obviously, the picture there, you can see our lovely facility in a beautiful day. But what we've done is we've really kind of expanded how we offer the event. We have essentially 20 holes, we call it, so we can get more groups here. So we have some contests we do on 2 extra holes, which that does there is allows more money to come in overall for the event and gets more teams involved, and of course, obviously ups revenue for the charity with the, excuse me, the solicitations that's happened through the event. So we really kind of been focusing on that. And this year specifically with COVID, I know a lot of golf courses are just saying we're not running tournaments, and I'm saying well, we're doing very well with our COVID-friendly concept, and we're really just change the language to kind of call it a celebration day. We're trying to avert some of the language in the industry that's circulating to, you know, no golf tournaments, no league play. Well, we're just really doing a celebration day on behalf of LLSC and the Q104 team. So somebody can't come to us and say you're running a golf tournament. What we're actually doing is doing individual tee times for the companies and teams that join. So they'll request maybe 2 or 3 different times they can play, and we'll run the tournament from say 9 o'clock onwards. So it's a really creative way to get the event out, and we'll have obviously the virtual overlay to everything. So some of the things that we have in mind, we do have some tools here that we're very fortunate to use. We have an app that we can do the scoring with. So again, there will be no after play collection of people. All the results will be done, and they'll actually be live scoring during the event. So you can know if you're a couple holes or strokes behind a team and a couple strokes ahead of another. So we see sometimes a little bit of side betting going on, which is kind of fun. And then the other thing that we're doing, we're very fortunate to do, is we have an app because we're not likely going to be permitted to have beverage carts out in the course. So we can actually do food order and delivery. So skip the dishes comes to golf. So it's pretty neat how we can do that. So we have a team of volunteers that will deliver food as it's requested and brought out to the course. So again, those things kind of help, you know, an event go forward where people will just think that it's COVID and they won't be able to be serviced the same way. So we're going to really kind of communicate these new additions and pieces to the patrons that support the Q104 tournament to let them know that yes, they are paying the entry fee to get in, but they're going to be serviced likely even better than they ever have before. So there'll be single riders per cart. Obviously, that is a plan that's been flying around lately, and it's unfortunate because the camaraderie of what we do is certainly social, and you know, obviously golfers will still collect and have fun in the day. So we're certainly looking to see how that's going to work out, but we have plans and we're ready to go with that as well. I think one of the other things in terms of the promotion of the event and getting things together, we're very fortunate to have Q104 with us, but something that we've seen and are starting to see a lot is a lot of video vignettes soliciting, you know, people like Ava to speak and you know, have their story heard to people that are wanting to come to the golf tournaments and stuff, so that they understand that it's just not a day away from the office. It's actually going to change somebody's life. And it's amazing when you ask people in a room to say who's been affected by cancer. It's amazing. It seems like everybody's hands goes up. So obviously charity events, I think we're hearing are, you know, something that are going to become even more and more of a priority, and how quickly community can get together. And I think if we do a little bit more of this communication in terms of video and telling the story, I think your attendees are going to go up, and people will get, they'll buy in, and they'll know that it's just not, again, a day away from the office, that it's actually going to change somebody's life. So I really believe that having a story in front of that, and having some of those people be on site to tell their story, or even to say thank you, it's just something that it's kind of resonating with me. Even if they're standing on a tee box and they just say, you know, I had cancer at this time, and you know, you helped save my life, so thank you. So there's, again, a lot of different ways people are doing some things, and it's a great way to say thank you and find that relationship with the patrons in your tournament. It's just I know there's a lot of charity out there looking for money to support their visions, and I think that, you know, saying thank you in live is something very important. So a couple things that will happen with the event is the registrations will be all virtual. So again, you know, automated tools and stuff, forms, I think are very important. The VIP box lunches, I think, you know, the golfer is going to look for a similar experience for their investment. And I think, again, You can localize, whether the courses can do it themselves, and or lots of catering is popping up right now, to deliver VIP box lunches. Certainly can be done. And I know lots of people are approaching restaurants to revive them right now as we go forward. So, reaching out to the community, you might get a local restaurant that just really wants to keep active and busy in the community. And, for what you invest into as you break the green fees and stuff out, you may get a little bit more stretch out of your budget to then drive more net dollars to the charity. So keeping costs down and doing it creatively certainly can be done. There'll be virtual draw prizes and whole contests are going to be something difficult to do. But again, the online auctions and stuff prior to the event and or during the event, we've thought about doing a few things here with live bidding. You can call in. We also have GPS in our carts where we can message out that the Wayne Gretzky jersey bid is now $300. Anybody want, they can text and raise that bid. So there's certainly creative ways to still do and raise money throughout the day during the event. It just needs to be challenged a little bit. A couple other things that we are seeing happen is sponsorship for the events, obviously virtual. People will, they don't mind the Coroplast sign, which seems to be a traditional way. I think, again, going more electronic and having web pages and other things for people to do can certainly be done. A newsletter thank you is certainly very critical. And again, something, keeping dollars and costs down. The signs do cost money. We use our GPS here for all our sponsors, again, to just keep costs down. But then again, we're fortunate you have to touch the screen to release the ads. So again, it's a little bit more value for the sponsors where they can, again, be confirmed that their actually ad and items have been viewed. So it's definitely something that can be done a little differently. Bidding stations, something that's been talked about in our industry is you can have a table up with the COVID friendly glass and you can have people behind it and they can still be on the holes and still bid and do different things out in the course. So there's certainly, again, ways to continue to drive money to the charity. And a couple other things, obviously the dinners, it's believed that obviously getting back into groups is going to be something that's going to come well down the line. And I know a lot of the events are moving further and further into the calendar year in hopes that they'll be able to assemble. But if not, one of the things that we look to do right now is with gift cards and reviving the restaurant industry. You can approach a number of different restaurants and say you need 150 gift cards and they'd be pretty excited about that, and you can likely get a discount and then give that to the patrons for supporting it. And then obviously most of those gift card purchases typically in industry numbers are spent about 20% greater than the value of the gift card. So that would obviously be a motivation for the restaurants to participate in. So that would be certainly a wonderful way to, again, say thank you to the community members in and around you if you can't have the banquet at the club. And certainly a nice way to add touches there. So as you can see in this picture here, we also have a little bit of a unique property. We actually have 12 of these carts, the For Fun carts. So we're very fortunate. We can actually VIP our experience and have golfers or teams pay even more for that cart, which actually, Trudy and the team here, we actually have a sponsor that we're likely going to be decorating these carts up. They'll have if again we can have 4 people. We actually have a divider coming to split those 4 people up. Plastic divider here we'll have very shortly. So, but the neat thing about that is we can let the Links for Lymphoma in Q104, charge more for that group, or those 12 groups. And again, they can have a VIP experience. So the beer sponsor is going to have, special gift packs and different things for those people that have actually bought that cart. So again, it's kind of maybe challenging the norm. We are fortunate we have a few extra tools at our resources, but I think the biggest thing too is challenging the golf people in your community to get involved with the tournament and the options. And I know for me, I much enjoy being involved with the team at Q104, and certainly the passion has been something overwhelming, and I feel outpaced at times with the passion of the group, but I certainly love being a part of it. And I think, again, the key thing for us is to really change the dynamic of how the golf tournaments are delivered and be out front and be different. And it allows, obviously, the golfer to just not tick the box of just going to a regular tournament. It's got to be a standout experience. something that can be done with, you know, apps and cool things and having them interact and being involved. And I think one of the key things at the end that we're really focusing on is how we say thank you. You know, have a speaker like Ava at the banquet to again leverage that her life has been changed. I think it's paramount in how you say thank you, and rather than prizes and awards and sending people away, I think once they really realize that they're actually there for a cause that's making a difference, there can be a substantial different buy-in in terms of how they want to support the event. And I was on a webinar yesterday where Global Golf Advisors actually was speaking to the same thing, how people will get more invested if it's more personalized. So that's something that we're certainly going to continue to push here, and we want to kind of make sure that our event specifically here is well attended, and well supported. And you know, the new COVID rules are the rules, and we just want to get people out and excited that we're able and going to look forward to having a wonderful day with them, and make sure that we can reach further into supporting the charity, and more so affecting the next person that's involved with cancer. So that's essentially where we are. Obviously, people can tell the time is now. Certainly, golf is my passion. So what is your passion? Poker, baking, karaoke, comedy, art. You can certainly use your passion to inspire your own community. I know many people right now with social media certainly finding ways to connect and finding additional ways to support in your own community. So I'll certainly circle back for questions at the end, and I wish everyone the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Myles. So we have our second poll. Have you ever participated in an LLSC fundraising event like Light the Night or Team in Training? So you will see the poll on your screen momentarily. And I'll just give everyone a few moments to complete. Okay, great. Fantastic. So 75% have. So it's great to see some of you that have already been involved in the community back here today. Thank you. I also want to welcome everyone that's new to the LLSC community. Thank you so much again for being here with us today. Okay, so our third speaker today is our very own digital marketing specialist, Chris Osman. Chris has worked at the LSC for almost 7 years, developing and executing digital strategy across many different campaigns and fundraising platforms. Chris's passion for using social media to create and connect a community is admirable. Chris is always pushing himself to stay current and up to date with technology trends, never scared to think outside the box and try something new. Chris is a pleasure to work with, and I'm happy to introduce him here as a speaker today. Chris, take it away.
Thanks, Ashley. So as Ashley said, I've been with the Leukemia Lymphoma Society for almost 7 years now. I've actually worked in just about every department and on every campaign that we have. So I've worked with Team in Training and Light the Night, in with our mission team, supporting patients, and even on the finance teams. And in addition to that, I've done fundraising as well. I've participated in those programs. I run fundraisers. I've raised thousands of dollars, all that type of stuff. So Ashley asked me to speak here today from what my current career path is and my passion, which is the digital side of things. So Myles' presentation was amazing, and they're doing some really innovative things. But what happens if that's just not an option to do even the alternative version of a golf tournament like Myles presented? So what I'm going to talk about is what does it look like if you've got to do it all online? How do you even play golf online and that type of thing? So when I sat down to figure this out, I realized it really looks very much the same as a normal golf tournament. You're still going to be registering teams and sponsors the same way. As far as the flow of the day, you're still going to have, an opening remarks and kickoff to the day where you have your speakers like Ava inspire people, where you go over rules of the day and the schedule. you're still going to play a virtual round of golf with teams of 4 ideally, and still have that social aspect. You should still have a dinner. Myles mentioned skip the dishes. That's the same idea here, or a local restaurant. And you're still going to have your closing ceremonies where you wrap everything up, give out awards, prizes, announce auction winners, and thank everybody for their involvement in the day. So all of this can be done virtually without leaving your home and without your participants leaving your home. And so now we're going to go into the detail of what at least I thought this could look like. And you know, if this is something that you choose to do, then you can take some of these tips and alter them to suit your own events. So to start, the first thing I found, and to be fair, this is something that would really benefit a virtual or a live golf tournament, and that's a tournament website. Through the portal that I found, and we're going to go through it here now. This one here, it's called theperfectgolfevent.com. It allows you to create a tournament website. They have templates, but it also allows you to customize everything, including logos and photos. So I went on, I created a pretend golf tournament, a pretend virtual event. So we've got titles here. The photo at the top is customizable. And as you scroll down, you'll see that there's a description of what the event looks like. You know, how is it different than a regular golf tournament? That image there is custom as well. So you can see the virtual golf game. Then down at the bottom, you can see different registration and sponsorship options. There is a map in this one. Obviously, this isn't being played anywhere, but if you chose to do a live golf tournament like Myles has, you can pick your golf course and it will show there on the map, and then the agenda, of course. If you go back to the top of the page, all of these menus are customizable. Like if we go into registration, for example, this is customizable as well, and the site will, as you scroll down, you'll see that there are multiple different payment levels and packages. In the more info button, it allows you to customize the details of those packages. So in this case, you're going to register an individual golfer and you're still going to get your golfer dinner with your skip the dishes gift card, and the site will actually collect all of the payments for you. So again, virtual or online tournament, this is a really great tool because it's going to collect all your registrations, it's going to process them for you, and then when it's all said and done, you just supply them with your banking information and they make a deposit into your account. So we can actually go back to the slides now, Ashley. Oh, the agenda. Yes, thank you. So the agenda here as well is something that I thought was really good to have for the virtual tournament, because it's going to give people a snapshot of how this looks different, but at the same time the same as a real tournament. So you can see here we've scheduled it out from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. So that is kind of a benefit if you look at it that way to one of these virtual tournaments, because it allows you to condense it into a smaller time frame. So you can have it on a Friday afternoon after people finish work. So they would start, you would have your opening remarks on Zoom, your round of golf. People would still submit their scorecards digitally, your dinner, and then announce the tournament winner all within a few hours. So like I said, this site, it will collect payments, registration info, sponsorship directly online. You can list the details and the agenda like we looked over, but on the back end, it will allow you to manage those teams and coordinate them, to coordinate invoices, to-do lists, and everything you need in one place. So there's a lot of tools on the back end of that site to help you just plan your tournament in general. So again, if it's a virtual tournament or a live one, it's a great tool that you can use. So that's how I would recommend getting people registered and organized and kind of just involved through the website. But when it comes to recruitment, you're going to do pretty much the same things that you would for a live golf tournament. You're going to use all your usual recruitment strategies and networking channels, you know, past tournament participants, past sponsors, all that type of stuff. But now you have an advantage to open it up to non-golfers, because as we're going to talk about on the next slide, we're going to use a virtual golf game, like a video game, really. So you can open this up through social media, additional company email list when it's appropriate, friends and family, and include kids. So you have the potential to get more people involved in this than a regular tournament because of the wider audience, but also you're not limited by the number of people on course. So the experience itself, you don't have to use what we recommend, but I did find an online game called World Golf Tour. So the benefit of this game is that it is available on every platform you can imagine. Windows, Mac, tablet, Android, Apple, mobile devices. So you can play this game no matter what, computer or tablet or phone that you're actually using. One of the other benefits is that you can have your foursome play together on the same course at the same time, so you still get that camaraderie. And as far as organizing the tournament so that people can feel that way, we'd recommend that you provide them with a template to maintain that social and that networking experience of a golf tournament and playing golf with business associates or friends or family. So ahead of the tournament, you would send them instructions, and that morning as well in the opening remarks, to set up the Zoom video chat. So once they pile into their virtual game, they can have their window of the 4 people playing, or even 8 or 10, or however many people are involved in their circle, so that they can still have those, that social aspect and jokes and networking throughout the day. And you can encourage people, because they'll be at home, they could have a social drink in the afternoon if it's the end of the day on the Friday and they feel comfortable with that, so that you can still maintain all of those aspects that, of real life that we're trying to maintain. And then the other piece is, creating a private group on social media for people that are involved in the tournament. So throughout the day, throughout the playing of their game and their experience, they can share content in real time and post it into this group and show people what they're doing and how much fun that they're having. So that was the actual play of the game. How does the rest of the tournament shape up when you're not actually playing your virtual game of golf? So I mean, we suggest that you host the other aspects the same way we're doing this webcast through Zoom or another program like that. So you would send out instructions and info ahead of the day as to how it's all going to unfold. Again, you'd have your agenda online on the tournament website. Include an honored hero, a story highlight like Ava, for example, in that kickoff, and review the rules of play and how the day is going to look in those opening remarks on Zoom, how the software is going to work. Give everybody the run through that way, the same way you would a regular tournament, just replacing your rules of play for golf in real life with how the game works and how that's all going to unfold. Getting people inspired before they have their nice little their game in the afternoon. So as they play the game, they would just, at the end, they would submit their screenshots of their rounds by closing time, the same way that you would submit your tour card, not your tour card, but your scorecard at the end of a real game of golf. So you just email it to the organizer, and then they would compile the scores and announce the winner at the closing ceremonies. And again, a part of the registration that we included in our fake golf tournament here, it was that you would get a Skip the Dishes gift card, or alternatively, if you've got a local restaurant or local restaurants like Myles said that want to get involved, you can get gift cards from them to support your local community a little more and have them delivered to their homes, so that then when you do the closing ceremonies on Zoom or another platform like that, they can be eating and they're not just sitting there waiting, twiddling their thumbs, so they can eat while all the rest of it's going on. And you can include, again, all of the traditional pieces that you would include in a regular golf tournament. Door prizes, people can snapshot closest, their shots for closest to the hole. Again, a story like from someone like Ava, thank yous and winners of the event. All of those regular things can be done on Zoom. We're doing it right now. It's just a matter of thinking outside the box and how do we present that. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's time to take your passion online and just find innovative ways to do it. I think when a lot of this started, people have been, were nervous about doing X event online or Y, but it is becoming kind of the way of the world right now, and people are becoming a lot more receptive. So like Myles said, focus on what you love. It might not be golf, but apply these same principles to a bowling tournament or something else that, you know, might be your passion. Explore. There are a lot of free tools and resources available to use. Everything I showed you here today, like none of that cost a dime. And start small if you need to. Don't think that you need to have a tournament or an event with 400 people, right? Like small people can, or small amounts of people can make big changes. So yeah, thank you very much.
Great, Chris. Thank you so much. Okay, now time for my last and final poll. Are you currently registered for Light the Night 2020? So you should see it up on your screen. I'll just give everyone a few moments to complete. All right. So it's almost about half and half. So awesome. It looks like half of you have already registered. That's amazing. For those that don't already know, Light the Night is the only event that brings together the entire blood cancer community to bring light to the darkness of cancer. Whether we come together in person or virtually, we're going to show the blood cancer community we aren't going anywhere. So if you haven't registered and you want to, please do so by visiting lightthenight.ca. Okay, it's now time for our questions. Remember, you can submit your questions using the question function. Can all speakers turn back on their webcam so we can see you? Great. Okay, so our first question is for Ava. Ava, did you go to school during treatment, and did your fellow classmates know what was going on? If so, how did they support you?
Okay,
You're
good?
unmuted? Okay.
Okay. So I didn't go to school during my treatments, and I think a total number of 15 people knew about everything as it was happening. I was pretty good at keeping it on the down low. It was just something I wanted to go through with my family and the closest people around me, because, like I said, I lost a lot of my ability to think. And as I watched that slip away, what people remembered about me was something that I could keep before everything happened. So I couldn't think, so I didn't go to school. But the people who were close to me, who were there, were my rocks. They really pulled me out of the quicksand.
Great, thank you so much, Ava. So Myles, I have a comment and a question. Okay. So Aaron says, Myles, you are amazing. Your ideas are fantastic. I can't wait to share them with our local partners. So that question was from Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. And then we have another question from Tyler. I have always been interested in golf. I have played it my entire life and would love to host a tournament. What would you say is the most important thing to consider when hosting your first tournament?
Having a cause, I think, is something that golf course operators certainly get behind. And obviously have a plan. Like I know you can get a lot of templates, kind of walk you through like much what Chris had there. Just, there's ways to build a budget and a strategy and what to do. Like we have a guide that actually we give potential tournaments when they call us for the first time, because some of them don't have a plan. So we give them actually a 90-day planner. So what you need to do 90 days out, 60 days out, 30 days out, almost like a wedding planning kind of guide. So it's actually very helpful to bring kind of like-minded people together. Maybe they're not in the golf industry, but they want to do something on behalf and raise money for a charity. So it really kind of brings everybody together in terms of somewhat like an agenda and a planner. So we actually have one of those that we give to, we just make it available to anybody that's in consideration. We have a spreadsheet that we give people that's already pre-done. So entries, expenses, and then they can kind of just see how it all works together. So that's why we get very proactive in some of these events, and we kind of offer ourselves as a service to the event. So I would certainly, again, find those online or reach to a course to say, hey, do you have those tools? They will generally obviously be a good success for people for their first event.
Great, thank you, Myles.
Yeah.
And we have a question for Chris. So is there a test site that you can set up in the back end? And then this person's also asking, sorry, Jen is also asking about paid versus free. So really, how much does it cost to set up that website?
Yeah, there isn't really a test site that you can set up, but it's because that organizing website is free, you can do what I did and, you know, play around and make up a pretend golf tournament website to kind of get your toes wet, and then when you're ready, you get the feel for it, you can go ahead and make your real one. It is free, so is the game that I presented, but there are obvious, you know, they got to make money somehow, so there is upgrades that you can do that allow you to do a bit more customization, add in additional logos and things like that, other features. And some of the upgrades, like the paid plans, the company, the Perfect Golf Site website, they'll actually provide you with graphic design and posters and things. That's what you're paying for if you don't have those resources yourself. But to just go in and do what I did, I didn't pay any money to make that site at all.
Great. And those are all the questions that we have. So thank you to those who submitted questions. And thank you to the speakers for your answers. Oh. Okay. I want to thank you for all being here with us today. Again, thank you to our speakers, Ava, Myles, and Chris, for sharing your stories and expertise with us all. If you know somebody who's struggling during these times, we are here to help. You can reach out to us toll free at 1-833-222-4884. And if you've not yet registered for Light the Night, again, please do so at lightthenight.ca. Along with this recording to this webcast, a short survey will also be sent out. We would greatly appreciate you taking a moment to fill it in, as it will help us to offer you the most valuable information in the near future. So thank you for joining us, everyone. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Thank you.